Hey guys, it's Sim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and that means tonight was AEW Dynamite. As far as tonight's AEW Dynamite does go, I will say there was a lot of good stuff on this show. There was also some stuff for the first hour that bored me to where if I wasn't like taking notes, like if I wasn't paying attention to the point where I was taking notes, kind of pay attention, I may have fell asleep during that first hour. Just saying. There's some stuff that were pretty boring to me in that first hour of the show. But then the second hour really kicked up and ramped up and really went very well. So yeah, overall, I thought it was like a meh show to start, and then it took off there the last 45 minutes or whatnot. So overall, not a horrible show, but I wouldn't call it great. Now, the last 30 minutes, I really liked. Didn't like how the tag title match ended, but we'll get into all of that as we get going forward. But we've also got Luke over here with us as well. Luke, what did you think of tonight's AEW Dynamite?
It wasn't a horrible show, but it also wasn't like good either. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of like bad with that first hour, but then the last 30 minutes kind of saved it.
So they haven't said it, and I don't think they're going to say it. Is next week's show going to be pre-taped like earlier in the day? Because they're going to be from Cardiff.
I don't know.
They're going to be in Cardiff, Wales next week. And we haven't got word. Because I doubt it's going to be live. Because if it's live, what are they? What's the time difference between like, let's see, hold on. New York, Cardiff time. It's a 5-hour time difference. So if Dynamite starts at 8 here, 9, 10, 11, 12, it'd be 1 a.m. Yeah, so it's going to have to be taped earlier or whatever. So that'll be an interesting one. Spoilers will be out there before Dynamite. I would assume spoilers are out there before Dynamite goes on the air, because if it's taped earlier in the day, we'll know, exactly everything. And it's the go-home show. We have one more Dynamite before the go-home show, which I feel like they're going to do a big Danielson swerve angle, or else they would have aired the career video next week. Because I feel like that's one that you air like right before the potential final match. That's just my opinion. But I was thinking about that as the show was wrapping up, and they were like, next week in Cardiff. And I was like, oh, that's right. The show is from, I forgot that the show was going to be in Cardiff next week. So just keep in mind, everybody, that next week's show may have some spoilers before the show goes on the air. And same thing with SmackDown in 2 weeks. SmackDown in 2 weeks as well is going to be from Berlin, Germany. That's going to be, I don't even know the time difference there, probably like 8 hours maybe. And so that one's going to be taped early in the day as well. We'll see how it all does go down. But yeah, I want to gauge your interest here. What is your interest level in All In? Are you excited? Are you kind of just meh? Or are you like, most of this I don't care about?
The Swerve and Danielson match I am pretty excited for.
Yes.
That's probably the match I'm most hyped for, but
and
the coffin match.
And not to cut you off, but I'm saying it should be the one you're most hyped for because it is the main event. You should always, for the most part. Now, sometimes there's going to be a match like at SummerSlam. More people were hyped up for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre than anything, and that's understandable. But for the most part, you should be the most hyped for the main event. But sorry, go for it.
The coffin match will be fun. I mean, I don't really see anyone excited for Mercedes versus Britt.
No, not at all.
Toni Storm versus Mariah May will be fun as well.
It'll be interesting to see how that match goes and the story they tell, because I feel like that match, more than any other match, maybe not Swerve and Danielson, but that match is going to be more of a story-based match than just we're going to go out there and try to have a banger. Now with Swerve and Danielson, I think they're going to do both. Try to have a banger, but those two are so amazing that they can also tell a great story while trying to have that 5, 6, 7-star match.
Yeah. And what other matches I'm
I can read you the whole card really fast right here. I just pulled it up. On the pre-show, it's Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. Then we've got Toni Storm versus Mariah May, MJF and Will Osprey, the coffin match, Jack Perry, Darby Allin. Mercedes Monet versus Britt Baker. We have the Casino Gauntlet match. Now, here's my question. When they announced the triple threat for tonight, they made it seem like it was only one of those guys are getting into the Casino Gauntlet match. Yet they kept saying during the match that the winner starts the gauntlet, that gets the number one spot. So does that mean all three guys are in? I was confused by that tonight.
You know what I just thought of with that Casino Gauntlet?
What?
So, like, what's the last person that gets in? What's that called? Like the ace?
Well, no. That's for a casino battle royal. With a casino gauntlet match, the quote unquote last person may not even make it into the match if the match ends before they get called out. The casino gauntlet match is the most ridiculous fucking rules ever. Anyways.
But you know who I can see, like,
and it's the Joker. The Joker.
Oh. But you know who I can see potentially, like, entering this gauntlet and winning?
Who?
Ricochet.
And getting a world ooh. Then we get Ricochet versus Bryan or Ricochet versus Darby.
Yeah.
I don't think Swerve wins. Now, there's I will say there is a chance Swerve does win, but I'm wholeheartedly Bryan Danielson's winning that match. Especially now that they're saying his daughter might be sitting front row.
Do you think Brie will be there as well?
Or
I assume
if the kids are there, I would assume Brie is there.
Well, she's not under contract with anybody, so who's going to stop her?
Exactly. That would be cool if, I don't know if, maybe both kids, but Brie and Birdie, because what Swerve said tonight, I'm going to beat you like I beat Yuta tonight with your daughter sitting in the front row. So that should be pretty interesting. And that's just another level of the storytelling. And that's another reason. If that's where they're going with this, that's why I'm like, they're going to tell an awesome story with this match. But again, if Danielson's daughter is out there, I don't think he loses. Especially with
I don't see him losing.
Especially with Swerve keeping saying, I'm going to cripple you. I don't think they do some sort of stretcher job with his daughter out there. I could be wrong. I don't think they do a stretcher job if his daughter's sitting front row. Now, granted, Mick Foley let The Rock handcuff him to the ropes and just beat the shit out of him with a steel chair while his kids were sitting front row. But that's a different generation. Did you ever see that on not Dark Side of the Ring? It was Beyond the Mat.
No, I did not. What was it again?
So it was the I Quit match from the Royal Rumble. Someone's going to correct me here. 99, maybe 98. And it was,
I don't know much about the 90s anyway.
So it was Mick Foley versus The Rock. And at one point, The Rock handcuffs Mick Foley to the ropes so he can't move. His wife and two kids are literally sitting in the front row. And The Rock has got a chair just boom, boom, bashing Mick Foley in the face. And his kids are like ducking their heads, crying to the point where King Digest is 99. Everyone's telling me I was right. To where freaking Colette, Mick's wife, had to take them backstage. And she got mad at Mick. She's like, how can you do that? You knew they were going to be right there. And it's all documented on the Beyond the Mat documentary to where like cameras were watching them, the family, they go backstage, Mick's bleeding. And she's telling him, the kids were scared. You shouldn't have been that violent in front of the kids. And Mick's just like, he looks at Noelle and it's like, okay, daddy needs to go get cleaned up now. So, no, Beyond the Mat's great. It's such a great documentary to watch. Because what I love about Beyond the Mat is how it's not just one wrestler story. They tell multiple stories on it. But, yeah. So
I know the latest Dark Side of the Ring episode was like, they did one with the Vince McMahon allegations.
Allegations?
I think.
I don't think they did the allegation. Like no. So, the people
the first one.
Well, I know the people that do Dark Side did a like Vince McMahon documentary thing and it sucked because it was literally just clips and all reused footage from episodes of Dark Side of the Ring.
Right.
So,
but what was the Plane Ride to Hell one?
Oh, that's the one that got Tommy Dreamer fired from TNA. That's Dark Side of the Ring. That was when
When did that happen? Someone told me about it. I was like, when did this happen? How come I never heard of it?
A Plane Ride from Hell? 2000, 2001 maybe? No, if Rick was on the plane, then it was 2001, 2002. One of those 2 years. Because Ric Flair was already there.
Everybody was drunk and beating up everybody. Rick was flashing himself.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen Heels, I'm pretty sure they used the Ric Flair stuff in Heels because there was an old veteran wrestler pulls his dick out on an airplane in that show. I'm pretty sure that's where they got that story for the show.
Wait, I got Tommy Dreamer fired from TNA?
Because Tommy Dreamer was like, yeah, Ric Flair didn't do anything wrong or whatever. Hold on, let me find this. Tommy Dreamer fired because Tommy Dreamer had said, hold on. Where is it? Suspended, not fired. Wrestler Tommy Dreamer has reportedly been, and this is from TV Line. Wrestler Tommy Dreamer has reportedly been suspended indefinitely by Impact Wrestling following comments he made during Vice's docuseries Dark Side of the Ring. Pro Wrestling Insider reports that Dreamer was, quote, asked to leave effective immediately from the week's TV tapings in Tennessee after making statements that were, quote, out of line with the company's core values. Thursday's episode of Dark Side of the Ring tackled the infamous Plane Ride from Hell, a nightmarish transatlantic flight in 2002 that saw intoxicated wrestlers brawl with each other mid-flight and reportedly harass the flight attendants on board. It was during this flight that WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair allegedly pulled one of his infamous pranks. According to Dreamer and Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam, Flair stripped down to only his wrestling robe, performed his signature strut down the airplane aisle, and swiveled and swirled his penis like a helicopter as a gag for the fellow wrestlers. That's what the guys wanted to see. That's what makes them laugh, RVD said. Flight attendant Heidi Doyle alleged that Ric Flair entered the galley in the back of the airplane for a Coke and forced her to touch his penis. I couldn't move. I couldn't get away from him, she said. He was spinning it around and he wanted me to touch it. He took my hand and put it on it. Dreamer defended Flair, saying, quote, Ric Flair is not going to try to impose by force any sexual stuff on anybody. He's just flaunting, styling and profiling, and doing the Ric Flair stuff where everybody's going to laugh about it. But obviously, somebody took offense to it. So, Dreamer saying that got him suspended from TNA, Impact Wrestling at the time. It says they talked about Flair getting sued for that, and Dreamer also addressed it in the episode, stating, quote, if that's how she felt, maybe she should have not taken a payout and went to the fullest extent of the law to then truly put this heinous person in jail. So, yeah,
that could probably get you fired.
Yep. But no, so on Heels, what they did, instead of the wrestler wearing a robe, because it said Ric Flair, nothing but a robe, he just had a wrestling belt on, and then his dick was hanging down like under and past the belt, and he's like, look, I got a big dick. Yeah. I hope that show comes back eventually. I would love for a third season. They got, if you haven't, so I know we're getting way off topic here. Last little thing. If you guys have not seen Heels yet, starring Stephen Amell on Starz, it is coming to Netflix. The first 2 seasons is coming to Netflix on, I feel like it got pushed back because it was supposed to be on Netflix already. September 15th. Both seasons will be on Netflix on September 15th. It was supposed to be August 1st. Originally, that was what is announced, but I guess it got pushed back. So if you haven't seen Heels, go watch it. Everybody go watch it. So that way, if enough, please give it a Cobra Kai. Because what happened with Cobra Kai is it went to Netflix. So many people watched it that Netflix was like, oh, let's keep this show going and will pay to keep it going. So even if we only get one more season, we need to wrap this up because season 2 ended on 3, if not 4 cliffhangers, depending on how you look at it, because they thought they were going to keep going. They were not given the impression that they were getting canceled, but Starz canceled like 4 or 5 shows that year and nobody knew they were getting canceled. So once Heels is on Netflix, go watch it, please. Hopefully we can get at least one more season because they are wanting to do it. Okay, Vicious says, is there such thing as 6-star matches? I mean, technically, yeah. Meltzer has given a few 6-star matches, and it's all opinion-based. It's all, if Meltzer wants to go more than 5, he's totally in the right to go more than 5 because it's his opinion. If he feels like this is what a 5-star match is, but this match is better than that, then you give it more stars. And I hate when people get mad at Meltzer's star ratings. Oh, why is that match a 3, but that match is a 4? Why is that match a 2.5 and that's a 3? It's Meltzer's opinion. Don't get mad at one man's opinion just because you don't agree about it. It's like, really? Can't have your own opinions? Anyways. You got Dynamite.
I mean,
go for it.
I agree with you on that, but at the same time, the only thing that I don't like about the ratings, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, is the whole, like, when he said in an interview that a 4.75 is basically the same as a 5-star match. Well, round the freaking number, Dave. Jesus.
Yes. Thank you. I hate 0.25s and 0.75s. I understand a 0.5. Like if you go, like say for some reason you watch a match and you're like, man, that match was amazing, but then I didn't like the finish. Like, oh, that was almost a 5-star match, but crappy DQ finish. That's a 4.5 in my book. Not 4.75. If you're going to get to 4, that's like, I hate some of these websites where they go like, actually, perfect example. Do you know who Dave Portnoy is? Portnoy? So One Bite.
The owner of Barstool.
The One Bite pizza guy. I hate when he's just like,
I have a sweatshirt in my closet that
nice.
says One Bite, and on the back of it, it has like all the pizza restaurants with the highest reviews.
It's so dumb when he takes a bite of a pizza and he goes, oh, that's a 9.2. Oh, that's a 8.7. How are you getting 7? Where the fuck's the 0.7 coming from, Dave? Another Dave doing ratings. Like, come on.
Dave thing, giving ratings.
Right? Come on. Because I watched one the other day. He was like, oh, we're here at Brothers Pizza. And he takes a bite. Oh, that's a 9.2. You got a 9.2. That's great. I'm like, where the hell are you getting a 2 from? If it's a 9.2, then it's a 9. Like, come on. What? Just saying. So annoying. Anyways, before we get going, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to head over to YouTube and help us out over there. Hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos, go live, or post things to the community tab. Hit that join button to become a channel member and support the channel that way. Even if it is just at the $1 tier, we greatly appreciate it. And remember to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air. You can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use our code right here, PW Unlimited, at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Madden 25 is out. Maybe you're getting that game. The new Doom Absolution season is dropping in Fortnite this Friday, so maybe you're getting that new battle pass. Maybe you're getting some of the new X-Men skins, some of the new Star Wars skins. Use this code right here, PWU NLIMITED, for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. Maybe you're claiming the free game, which right now is DNF Duel. Great fighting game. Free till tomorrow morning. So go claim that, get that, and have some fun. Use our code. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just takes about another 10, 15 seconds. But with that, we got AEW Dynamite to talk about. That kicked off with the TBS Championship on the line. Mercedes Monet defending against Hikaru Shida. I couldn't get into this match at all. The entire time, and tell me if maybe you were thinking the same thing or not, I don't know. The entire time this match is going on, all I'm thinking about is, so what's the Britt angle going to be at the end? Is Britt going to come in during the match, or is she going to wait till after the match? That's all I cared about, because everybody knew that Shida was not winning. So it's like, I never at one point was interested in this match or invested in this match. And that is an issue that AEW has. When you announce title matches and then you shoehorn another title match in before that big title match, no one cares. Why should we care? Also, am I wrong into thinking that this was the week with the least amount of CEO chants from the crowd? I don't think I heard any.
Normally, I just think it's from the theme song.
Well, once you can hear the theme song stop. Yeah, like eventually you can hear the theme song stop, and then I heard none. Like, these AEW fans are over Mercedes, and not like the we don't like her, she's a heel kind of way. It's a we just don't care about her kind of way, it feels like. So they want Britt to beat her bad.
It bothers her that much.
Go for it. Say it again.
I don't think it necessarily bothers Mercedes that much, though.
She don't care. She's getting paid.
So, yeah. I mean, I want Britt to win the TBS belt because it would be a good story there.
I kind of think she does. My prediction as of right now, before we see the go home next week, my prediction is Britt wins.
I would love to see Britt win, but at the same time, I'm worried like if she does win, then you're gonna have Mercedes just complain, be like, "Oh, I didn't have a lengthy run."
Unless they have like a good story for her to. I can honestly see them doing the thing, and they do this a lot, and it pisses me off. She loses the TNT or the TBS title, and then she's gonna go challenge Mariah or Tony for the world title. I can see something like that.
She's gonna challenge Mariah May. She's gonna win the world title.
I don't know. But as far as this match does go, where are my Monet dodged a charge early on into a leaping arm drag and traded a series of pinfall attempts before she tried a drop kick that led to a stalemate. Shida connected on a snap Hurricane Rana, keeping Monet grounded before another exchange for a near fall before Monet bailed as Shida tried to go for a knee lift. Shida tried suplexing Monet from the apron, but Camille held on to Monet's leg with the referee just staring right at them. Shida battled back with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but as she tried to go for her running knee while Monet was draped on the apron, Camille stood right in front of her. This then allowed Monet to hit a Meteora. Shida then answered this back with an enziguri, but Monet was there to answer with some forearms. There was reversals of whips and whatnot that led to a missile dropkick by Shida, who fired off a forearm of her own and a pump knee for a 2. A little bit later in the match, Monet did get to 2 of the 3 amigos, but Shida countered the final one into a Falcon Arrow. Got a 2 off of it. Camille then pulled Monet to safety, but ate a dropkick by Shida, who waffled her with the kendo stick. Hitting her with the kendo stick distracted Shida enough, though, for Monet to take it away, argue with the ref, and then Camille hit Shida with a big boot. Back inside, Monet connected with the Monet Maker and pinned Shida to pick up the victory. And again, like I said, the whole time I'm just going, where's Britain wins this match ending? Because you know Shida's not winning. This was if I'm going to say so, lesser quality Shida match. We've seen better Shida matches. And yeah, it was all about Britt coming out after. We'll talk about that in a minute. What did you think of the match itself?
Match was kind of there, honestly.
Yeah, like I said, we've seen better Shida matches in the past.
Hold on, I really want to talk about this post-match, though, because I'm just like, what the heck was this post-match?
So Britt's music hits. Camille jumps the ramp. Also, see how short that like area between the ramp and the ring was? They couldn't do nothing there.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a 9,000 seat building and they only set it up for 3,700. Didn't even try to, they barely, and I get it. You have the stage and everything. So maybe you can try to get 60%. They only tried to sell 40%, and they didn't even open the upper bowl. Anyways, Britt's music hits. Camille jumps onto the ramp. She's looking, no Britt. She starts looking around, and then she sees someone in the front row wearing a Sting mask, and she thinks, maybe that's Britt. And the way Camille played this off, I'm a huge Camille fan, but she was horrible here, because she's like, person runs over, grabs. It's like, so like, I know what my spot is. I got to hit it, and it didn't come off genuine. So she grabs this person, throws him over the barricade. Do we ever even see who the person was? Or is just...
No, I didn't see it either. I'm like, was she just beating up a random fan here?
Exactly. So she's stomping, beating the crap out of this person. Then the crowd starts to stir because here comes Britt through the crowd. Mercedes has got the kendo stick. Britt gets in the ring, putting on the glove. They start fighting. She beats the hell out of Mercedes. But before the lockjaw could actually fully be applied, Camille pulls Monet to safety. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the heck? Is she just beating up some like random fan? Like it would have made more sense if it was just like another woman on the roster, just as like a decoy almost. But
yeah, that's the thing. Who was it?
This is dumb.
That's the thing. Who was it under the mask? And it's okay, and we know that it, because we've seen this, the person in the mask and the hoodie before, we know it's not a real fan. But if you suspend your disbelief, you're supposed to think that Camille just beat up a fan. So is there no repercussions for that? I don't know.
I guess not.
Moving forward, we saw footage. So I was glad they showed this because we saw footage of the chaos that ensued after Dynamite last week. And a lot of times they'll air stuff like this on social media and they never show it on TV. So I'm glad they showed this. Basically, Renee Paquette was backstage. They showed the chaos that unfolded on Dynamite last week with like Jeff Jarrett and MJF, or not MJF, Hangman fighting and this and that. And then Renee's with Jeff Jarrett and his guys. She's talking to Jay Lethal, Sanjay, Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett. Paquette said that Hangman has been a thorn in their side since returning. And I'm like, has he? Or has Jeff Jarrett been a thorn in Hangman's side? If you really think about it. None of this makes sense, but whatever. Jeff started to get riled up. Paige then ran in, beat up Jarrett and Dutt before brawling with Lethal to start their match. Well, why is he fighting Lethal and not Jeff Jarrett? They never even said. If the whole issue is with Jeff Jarrett, granted, they've already fought in the Owen, but if his issue's with Jeff Jarrett, why is he fighting Jay Lethal?
I don't know.
Are they saving that for Wembley and we're going to get a big Jeff Jarrett Hangman match at Wembley?
I don't even know what they're doing with Hangman at Wembley.
Me neither.
I guess him versus Jeff Jarrett in like some street fight or something.
Speaking of don't know what they're doing at Wembley, Okada not going to work the Wembley show. He's going to defend on the Cardiff Dynamite instead. That's weird.
I mean, honestly, what could happen is what if he beats Claudio, then out comes Mark Briscoe or something.
Maybe.
Or out comes someone else. Or, yeah, I don't know. I assume if he's going to defend the belt at Wembley, it's probably going to be Mark Briscoe.
Okada versus Mark Briscoe could be a hell of a match. I would love to see that. But as far as Hangman versus Jay Lethal does go, the bell sounds. Lethal hit 5 consecutive suicide dives that had the crowd stirring. Lethal brought Paige to the apron, where Paige immediately hit a deadeye on the edge of the ring before chucking Lethal over the timekeeper's table, and we went to commercial break. Coming back from the break, Lethal tried stringing things together, but Paige was there to put a stop to him. Kind of did the Magnum TA belly to belly. There's a Death Valley driver that spiked Lethal for a near fall. Paige then noticed that he's bleeding from the mouth, and he became more pissed off than he already was. Paige then took too long to follow up as Lethal got a series of close 2 counts before hitting the Lethal combination. Paige then kicked free of a figure 4 and applied a crossface, but Lethal countered into a roll-up for a 2. Lethal again went for the figure 4, but Paige raked the eyes and hit a wild discus lariat. The ref then checked on Lethal, who slowly got to his feet, ate a buckshot, and Paige pinned him to pick up the victory. What did you think of this match between Hangman and Jay Lethal?
That was just okay. I was not a big fan of the first hour. I really wasn't.
Me neither. Like I said, if I wasn't taking notes, I may have fell asleep.
I wanted to fall asleep during this match. No, I wanted to fall asleep during the first hour. I was just laying on the couch. I was like trying so hard to keep my eyes open.
Granted, I was up till like almost 4 a.m. last night because Nick and I were on Twitch just chatting for hours.
I mean, I woke up at like 6 in the morning this morning.
I think I was up at like 8:30. If you're going to bed at like 4.
Jeez.
Footage of MJ.
Yeah, I went to bed at like
Go for it.
Yeah, I went to bed at like midnight. Woke up at 6.
Nice. Well, yeah, no, because I was streaming Fortnite last night. I'm like, I'll do an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm not going to be on that long. And then Nick was like, hey, let me jump on Discord. And we just started talking. Next thing I know, it was almost 4 hours on the stream.
Jeez.
It was fun, though, because we were just rambling and talking about a bunch of stuff. And it all started because, like, I said something about the current WWE product. And he's like, wait, inform me. I don't watch WWE. What the hell's going on?
Does he not watch any wrestling?
Oh, yeah. He'll watch some stuff. Like, I think he's watching SummerSlam. I think he's watching tonight because he messaged me about the Swerve Danielson stuff. But Nick also likes to go back and watch just old like just reruns of matches and stuff, especially Japanese matches. That's Nick's thing. We do have a couple bit donations here from Esports Gaming Rules. First one says, many people may have watched Dynamite to hear Tony Khan's, quote, big announcement. So still people think Tony Khan is the man to that, quote, save pro wrestling. Now Triple H save pro wrestling from Vince instead of Tony Khan. Oh, you want to talk about that? Hold on. I'm going to pull up something. Pull up a quote from AEW today when they announced that Tony Khan's All Elite Wrestling will be sponsoring Tony Khan's Fulham Women's Football Club. And they stated in the press release for this, Tony Khan is sponsoring Tony Khan, basically. What they stated, listen to this crap, stated, quote, Fulham Football Club is delighted to announce a new partnership with All Elite Wrestling, professional wrestling's first true mainstream competitor in more than 2 decades, responsible for revitalizing the industry with a renewed emphasis on creative spirit and in-ring athleticism. Again, let me read that again. They state that AEW is, quote, responsible for revitalizing the industry with a renewed emphasis on creative spirit and the in-ring athleticism. They're saying that AEW saved pro wrestling. They also state this partnership will see AEW's logo adorn Fulham women's shirts during the 2024-25 season and reflects AEW's commitment to progressing women's sports. Yet, don't people complain the lack of women's wrestling on the shows? Isn't that what people complain about? The lack of
people complain
screen time?
I can't remember how long ago this was, but do you remember at one AEW show there was a sign that said, like, use the female wrestlers better, and AEW like zoomed in on that sign?
Yeah. So, I don't know, but yeah, it would be different if it was like, I don't know, Manchester United and AEW teaming up or something like that, like a different soccer team, football club that Tony didn't also own. So it's like, oh, Tony told the Fulham FC PR people to make AEW look good in this press release. That's just me spitballing, saying stuff. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but anyways, Esports Gaming Rules also says, same thing. He sent it twice. Thank you. And then Muscleman85, do you think there's still a good chance Shane joins AEW? I think there's actually a pretty good chance we could see Shane show up at All In, maybe. Because if you want to do a big shock and awe thing with Shane McMahon, why not do it on your biggest pay-per-view of the year? And then that kicks off whatever big storyline they're going to do with Shane. Heck, what if Shane screws Bryan because of their past working relationship in WWE? I doubt it, but
if they do that, you're gonna piss off so many fans. Like so many fans.
I highly doubt it, but it was just something that all of a sudden popped into my head because I'm like, who does Shane have any kind of like on-screen something with in AEW? And it's Bryan.
It's 2019 all over again. Remember when Shane was taking up so much TV time and they turned into like a whole storyline?
Yep.
Well, yeah, because fans backstage, it was wrestlers backstage kept complaining how much storyline Shane had, or how much like TV time I meant.
Right.
How much TV time he had. So they then turned into a storyline where Kevin Owens like beat Shane and said, "You're fired." And like 1 year later, here comes Raw Underground.
Yeah. Wild. Crazy stuff, but I don't know. They had a meeting. Apparently, Tony made it sound like Mercedes set the meeting up. And I don't know if anything's going to come of it. I think there's a good chance, yes. But if nothing ever comes of it, I won't be shocked. And if he shows up, I won't be shocked either. Right now, I'll give it 50-50. Maybe 60-40. Yes, Shane shows up. Esports Gaming Rule says, wait until Tony Khan's buddy, the CEO of WBD, gets fired soon. Now, that's a whole other story we can talk about. If Zane Breslov, so if there is now talk going around that if the NBA truly does not remain on TNT, people at WBD could see that as a big fumble from Zane Breslov and fire him as the head of the company. So if another person were to come in and say that person is not a wrestling fan and they haven't announced the next AEW TV deal yet, that could be bad for AEW. No, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it is a very, very big possibility. Kind of like what happened with WCW. Ted Turner was in charge. Ted Turner said, wrestling will always remain on our networks. We will always have wrestling. And soon as Ted Turner was not in charge anymore, next guy said, we're canceling wrestling. So if Zane Breslov was somehow to get fired for losing the NBA, and the new guy comes in and doesn't like wrestling or thinks we're paying too much for this and wants to give them less money, could hurt AEW. So I just say, that's why I've been saying the NBA leaving TNT could be a good thing short term for AEW, but maybe not in the long. So we'll see. Footage of MJF defending the American title against Michael Oku at the Rev Pro show was shown, where Will Osprey did appear, chasing MJF out of the ring. Basically, he was stopping MJF from giving Amira a Tiger's driver. This is a really cool video package. This led to highlights of Osprey's rise through his career. Osprey said that ever since he showed up, everyone has had to level up their results. MJF then said that he started as a nobody and became a generational talent. He said that he is the man in professional wrestling and there's nobody better than him. And yeah, this is a really, really good video package. They had 3 or 4 really good video packages tonight. I will say that.
The one with Brian Danielson was really good.
Oh, hell yeah. With Good Riddance from Green Day. Woo. You know, it's probably going to really like that video is Baby Huey, because Green Day's his favorite band. Plus, he's a big Danielson fan.
I see him posting a lot of like videos of him at concerts.
Because he works for the radio station, so they get sent to the concerts for work. It's his job to go to these concerts.
A great life, honestly.
Right? It's his job, technically, kinda, to get sent to concerts and 49er games. Because his radio station is like the radio station of the 49ers in the Bay. Or at least, I don't know if they're the main station or if they're just like the rock station of the 49ers. But yeah, because we've seen, I've seen him post videos. He sent me pictures of stuff. He's like, hey, I'm here at the 49er game. We're down on the sideline. I just took a picture of Bailey. So.
Is this radio station hiring or have any internships?
I don't know. You'd have to move to San Francisco. 107.
I'm okay with that.
1077 The Bone. Pac was backstage.
I'm sure the rent is expensive.
Oh, in San Francisco? God damn. Don't get me started.
Sure, it's a lot more expensive the rent I pay here. People will praise how cheap the rent is.
Why do you think I moved out of California? We pay about $2,000 a month for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath with a huge backyard. $2,000 a month, and where I was in California, can get you an apartment with maybe 3 bedrooms. Yeah, that's why we moved. A lot cheaper to live somewhere else. So we got Pac backstage. This was newsworthy. This is actually a newsworthy segment. Pac's backstage and asked the cameraman to tell him who the number 1 contender for the American title was. And it's not Will Ospreay, it's him. Pac is sick of being constantly overlooked and treated like a bum. This was his ticket to Wembley, and it was taken from him. Pac said that whoever comes out the American champion will 2 weeks later will have to face him with the title on the line at All Out in the same arena where he beat Kenny Omega 5 years ago. He said he'll show up and show everyone what the bastard is capable of. So I think this is the first official title match for All Out. I could be wrong on that.
What is
the international title match? Pac getting a shot. AEW All Out. I think it's the.
Wait,
I think it's the. Let me see. Why is this not wanting to come up? Come on, Wikipedia. Oh, it's not even. So I think it's the first official match. But yeah, it is happening at All Out, and we'll see who wins. You think it's going to be early prediction now? MJF or Will Ospreay? And keep in mind, the winner, I'm going to say, keep in mind the winner is defending against Pac 2 weeks later.
MJF.
You think they beat Ospreay in his home country with the title on the line? Where Ospreay's whole thing is, I need to get this back to the international title for the people that helped make it what it is. I think we're divided on this one. I think it's Ospreay.
I mean, I'd love to see Osprey, but at the same time, I think, actually, now that you say it, I think it's going to be Osprey mainly because I think Tony Khan loves those hometown wins.
Right.
Those home country. Like he's going to have Osprey win in London.
I think so.
Hey, he's from London, right?
Well, I don't know about London. Where's Will Ospreay from?
I thought he was Australian for a moment.
No, that's Aussie Open. Will Ospreay was born in London, England. Oh, William Peter Charles Ospreay. Once known. Have you seen Will Ospreay's other wrestling names before he was Will Ospreay? I've never seen these before.
Over the
Jason Ardum. He was Jason Ardum. Dark Britannico and Neo Britannico. He is built from Essex, England. Interesting.
He probably didn't have those names for long.
Let me see. When did he debut the Will Ospreay name?
I know he wrestled in TNA as Will Ospreay when he was really young, 2015.
I've only ever known him as Will Ospreay. Let's see. Dark Britannico, 2012. He was the evil twin of Leo Britannico. Doesn't say exactly when he turned into Will Ospreay. I'd have to read through the Wikipedia or whatever, but I don't know exactly when he turned into Will Ospreay. Probably like 2012, 2013, it looks like. So moving forward, the Darby Allin video, footage of Darby Allin defeating the Butcher on Rampage last week. And and also teaming with Hologram on Collision to defeat the premier athletes. We then get a video of Allen. Go for it.
Sorry to cut you off, but like I don't really watch Collision, but is anyone like getting like any more like hype or Hologram, or are they just like people kind of gave up on him?
Well, here's the issue. Hologram has only wrestled on Collision in Dallas, Texas. They have not taken Hologram on the road yet. Texas loves their luchadors. So people in Texas have been really, really, really liking Hologram. But the big question is going to be when they go to a Denver, Colorado, when they go to an Atlanta, Georgia, when they go to an Asheville, North Carolina, are those cities going to like Hologram? That's the thing. He's gotten over in that building to those fans, but we don't know how it's going to be once he's in different cities. So also Hologram half looking like a damn Power Ranger too, which is weird. Apparently Hologram is a character Tony Khan's had in mind for basically since he started AEW. Which
yeah, Tony Khan wanted a superhero like gimmick.
And the funny thing is like
AEW, but like
go for it.
Yeah, he wanted a superhero gimmick in AEW for a while, but like the technology didn't work at the time.
Here's the thing. What technology? Hologram is named Hologram, but he doesn't look like a hologram. So they just said, screw the technology thing. Anyways, it's funny when you hear that story of Tony Khan wanting a superhero gimmick, and then you go, oh, like Vince, when he wanted Neville Pack to be a superhero, like Mighty Mouse?
Honestly, it wasn't even a bad gimmick. People loved Neville.
Oh, yeah, no, I love Neville.
Like, when he had that cape and everything, like, people honestly didn't even care. People loved him even more.
Honestly, I feel like if he was in WWE now, he'd be fighting Braun Breaker. He'd be in that Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov like level, fighting for the IC title and stuff. Because Triple H loved Neville. You could tell that by the way he was booked in NXT. But I feel like if he was in WWE today, he would be at the top of that mid-card Intercontinental US title. He'd be fighting, Braun Breakers and LA Knights, depending on what brand he was on and whatnot. He'd be at that level.
I mean, I would love to see him back in WWE, but at the same time, I don't think he goes back because I think he doesn't have to work much in AEW. Well, that's what I was about to say. He rarely ever works in AEW.
I was going to say, he's been spoiled by Tony Khan being able to live in the UK and have a lot of time off.
Where he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere else.
Basically. So, as far as this Darby stuff.
That's how a lot of these AEW wrestlers are. They get too spoiled by Tony Khan. They don't want to go anywhere else.
Yep. Nick and I were kind of talking about that last night with like the Miro stuff, where apparently the rumor was they pitched a bunch of things for Miro and he was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And Tony didn't be a boss and he's just like, okay, you don't want to do it, whatever. So
now Miro's back in Bulgaria right now. And he's injured, I'm pretty sure.
Nick says if he was in WWE, he'd be wrestling for the Twitter belt. But I like Speed. And I also like that anybody can pop up on Speed. It's not just the cruiserweight show like we thought it was going to be. So, no, I am a fan of, I don't miss a Speed match. Whenever it's a Wednesday or it's Championship Friday, give me a Speed match. I'm going to make sure I watch it. Quick 4 minute video. Easy to watch. Back to the Darby thing. We got a video of Darby saying that years ago, he was killing himself on the independent circuit for nothing until he heard of All Elite Wrestling starting up. Allen was living in his car when he heard AEW signed Jungle Boy Jack Perry and wondered, quote, who the F is Jack Perry? No one believed in Tarzan's BS, which is cool. He can now be himself, which is a child who doesn't deserve the respect that he thinks he does. Every week, Allen goes out and kills himself. With all the stuff Perry has pulled recently, though, he wishes that he would have gotten fired. At Wembley, they put this to an end. Allen had his entrance in the arena, but was wiped out with a running knee by Jack Perry, who dragged him into the backstage area. Perry chucked him into the loading boxes before Allen briefly fought back, only for Perry to rake the eyes and throw a trash can at him. Perry lowered the bay door onto him and onto his chest, smashing him down. Security tried to come, and they told us, hey, this is going to be a coffin match at All In. Not just a regular match for the TNT title, but a coffin match. So, second year in a row, coffin match at All In. So if you remember last year, we had the tag team coffin match. Also, thinking of that, Swerve going from losing the coffin match at All In to main eventing 1 year later. Think about that one. Any thoughts on this being a coffin match now?
I think it's exciting. I think that basically just tells you that Darby's winning.
Most likely, like on 99%.
Because out of all the matches that Darby's had in a coffin match, Darby's always wins those coffin matches.
I believe so.
Andrade, Brody King.
Let me see. Darby.
I think those were the only two.
I'm looking it up. Coffin. Yeah, Darby's never lost a coffin match in AEW. He's done 4. There was the one last year. Him and Sting beat Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. In 2022, he beat Brody King. In 2022, he beat Andrade. And in 2021, he beat Ethan Page in the first coffin match. Moving forward, black and white colored schemed video played before Mariah May said, we ain't doing that stuff anymore. She said to put in she's going to put Toni Storm in the ground and they're going to go down with flames. May said that she could be Toni Storm's success, but not her mistake. This year, it's all about Mariah, as Storm's biggest mistake was being alive and around at the same time as Mariah. The tears, the taste of Tony's blood. May has better things to do. One day, she'll wonder whatever happened to Toni Storm. And as she's saying all of this, she's got all the Toni Storm gear that she's been wearing. She lit it on fire. She said, don't worry. They're both going to die. Mariah will be around long enough to write Tony's eulogy. I don't know if Mariah May's ever had acting classes, but she's one hell of an actress and one hell of a heel. She comes off so great when she's doing this stuff. Amazing. Any thoughts?
I thought this was a great video. Like, she should honestly consider like doing some Hollywood stuff.
Oh, for sure. 100%. So then what wasn't as good, and it's not even because like it's Mina Shirakawa and her English is not the best. I just feel like they didn't give her much to say or do here. So Renee Paquette was backstage with Mina Shirakawa, who flew all the way from Japan just to say, I hope nobody gets hurt at All In. So Renee asked her, you know, if you talked to both Tony and Mariah since all this happened. She's like, I've been left heartbroken seeing all of this. She said, she has never seen Mariah so vicious, nor Tony so vengeful. And I'm like, we've known Tony since like April. And then she's like, I hope no one gets seriously injured at All In. That was it. They flew this woman in from Japan for that? What? So then, but Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. But the stip, I guess you would say, on this match, the the reward was a little weird because, and I'm going to go back here really fast and see when they announced this match. Because when they announced it, they made it sound like only one man is getting in the gauntlet. Let me see if I can find it really fast. Because it said Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, 3-way. Okay, hold on. Let me find the other graphics. That graphic is a different graphic. Maybe I read it wrong. Give me a second. I gotta go scroll through a bunch of stuff. Here we go. So, okay, so I did read it wrong. it did say 3-way for the number 1 spot in the Casino Gauntlet at All In. Okay, so never mind. But the way they said it at first made it like tonight, made it sound like only one guy's getting in, but then they finally confirmed no, it's for the number 1 spot. That makes a lot of sense. Anyways, good match. I thought this is when the show, like from here on with like the Darby video, the Mariah video, and then going forward is when the show finally kicked up. And I was like, oh, I'm into this now. Now I will say, I don't want your opinion on this match. I felt like this match did go a little long. I don't know if you thought the same or not.
I kind of felt that same way.
Yeah, because at one point I'm like, well, this match is still going. And I could be wrong, but I felt like it went through like 2 commercial breaks too. Anyways, there was chops, kicks, counters aplenty early on from all 3 men before there was a stalemate that led to O'Reilly being sent outside. Strong lit up Cassidy with chops before O'Reilly ran into a kitchen sink and a double team sent Strong to the outside. Cassidy connected with the suicide dive, but Kyle O'Reilly teased a dive off the apron, but he couldn't leap as the conglomeration members politely held the ropes open for each other and grappled down in picture-in-picture. This kind of got weird when they started working together. I don't know. Back inside the ring back from the break, Strong was in control. He hit a Uranagi on Cassidy onto O'Reilly for a near fall. Strong then lived up to his moniker of the Messiah of the Backbreaker, dishing out multiple backbreakers before Kyle O'Reilly was sent to the outside and sent him to the outside as well. It's a fast sequence from O'Reilly and Cassidy, but as Cassidy was trapped in a rear naked choke, Strong tried to do a double stronghold, but he couldn't turn both guys over. This is a cool spot where it's basically he's trying to get both guys over for the Boston Crab. And then Taz has to like kill the momentum here where he goes, oh, so if he gets both guys over for a Boston Crab, is that now a New Hampshire Crab? And then he doesn't get it. And then Taz has to go, Excalibur, did you get what I was saying? Did you get what I was saying, Excalibur? Excalibur goes, what? If it was a double Boston Crab, the crab is still from Boston. Why would it come from New Hampshire? And then Taz kind of like got frustrated. Was like, never mind. Weird. Whatever. I don't know why that stuck with me. But like Taz and Excalibur bickering over Taz trying to be funny and it didn't work out. Stuck with me. There were some loud chops from Strong on Cassidy at one point in the corner where O'Reilly cut them off. Cassidy was crotched on the top rope, and O'Reilly and Strong had a solid striking sequence as O'Reilly locked in a guillotine, but was in position for Cassidy to fall off the top with an elbow drop for a triple down. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett would run down to cause a distraction, which then led to Mark Briscoe and Tomohiro Ishii running out and stopping them, with Briscoe catapulting off a chair and a dive to everybody on the outside. All 3 competitors brawled on the floor as we went to yet another commercial break. Strong had Cassidy trapped in a clover leaf, but O'Reilly cut it off and led to a 3-way strike exchange. At one point, there was a tilt-a-whirl on Strong, who tossed Cassidy into a DDT onto O'Reilly, which was a great little visual. Everyone traded thrust kicks before O'Reilly hit the Nigel Lariat on Strong, locking in a leg lock as Strong ate multiple PKs. O'Reilly and Strong hit a high-low on Cassidy, but both tried to go for the cover, and Bryce Remsburg was like, can't count. I don't know who to count for. O'Reilly and Strong then slugged it out as Cassidy ran into a strong pump knee while O'Reilly ate a sick kick. O'Reilly countered an end of heartache into a submission, but Cassidy was there to get the crucifix flash pin and pick up the victory. So we know, I assume, all 3 men are in the gauntlet match, but Orange Cassidy gets to start number 1. Also, there's the rumor that Michael Oku may be working All In. I can see him being placed in the gauntlet match. What do you think of this triple threat?
It was a fun match.
Yeah.
And if they said going first, then yeah, I'd see why Orange Cassidy would win.
So just think about it, though. The winner of the gauntlet gets a world title shot. They didn't say win, though. So we'll see how that goes.
I still think my gut is telling me Ricochet is going to enter the gauntlet and win the match.
That would be cool.
But at the same time, I don't want them to do with Ricochet like they do with a lot of people, push him to the moon too quickly.
And then they just kind of like after that, peter out.
They kind of disappear.
Yeah. That is a problem they have sometimes.
They did it with Deonna Purrazzo. They pushed her to the moon too quickly. They had her challenge Toni Storm. She lost.
She's been doing this Thunder Rosa feud on Collision for a while now. They just had the Texas Bull Rope match last week. That's the thing. People don't watch Collision. That's where you see your Deonna Purrazzos and Thunder Rosas.
They did it with Taya Valkyrie as well.
Well, yeah. And then kind of. Taya came in strong, challenged like multiple times for the TBS title. And then they put her and Johnny in ROH, and now they're working Collisions.
Yeah, they're not even doing anything with Johnny.
No, he's just a goofball comedy character at best. It's sad to see.
And in Ring of Honor as well. Like, he's not even doing anything in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And both of them are kind of acting like, yeah, we're doing all this great stuff. Like,
no. So Renee Paquette was backstage.
I did see that their recent interviews with Chris Van Vliet. They're saying like, yeah, we're doing all this great like comedy stuff. Like,
I mean, they're entertaining, and that was more because they were talking about their Johnny Loves Taya little show they got on YouTube. Like, those two are great, and they work off each other perfectly and whatnot. But I don't know. As far as what they're doing with them, it's not must-see TV. It's you miss it, oh well. So Renee Paquette was backstage with Claudio Castagnoli and Kazuchika Okada ahead of their Continental title match next week on Dynamite. Excuse me. Claudio said that he always felt like the Continental title was his to lose. But when he lost the Continental Classic, it was tough. Castagnoli promised that this time he'll make the title shot count. Okada mockingly applauded. He said Castagnoli is very passionate. 12 guys fought for the Continental title, but Okada is the champion, a 4-time G1 Climax winner. Castagnoli will respect him. Okada said, "Good luck, bitch." Okada popped for it, and then before walking away, Claudio said that he hopes he doesn't get the Elite's lackey next week. He wants to fight the true Rainmaker, the Tokyo Dome main eventer, and he's bringing everything he's got to Cardiff. Okada will have 99 problems, and this bitch is number 1. So even though this was a backstage segment, crowd still reacted very well for it. So I liked this. I'm kind of getting a little tired of the Okada calling everybody bitch. Hey, bitch.
Yeah.
It's getting old already.
Overused.
Yeah, it's getting old. Also, speaking of that, how come, and I forget what segment this was now. I think it was in the Jericho Hook segment. How come they bleeped Hook from saying the word shit, but they didn't bleep Jericho and Okada from saying bitch? Is shit worse than bitch?
I was literally about to ask that same question.
Is shit worse than bitch? Because you could say bitch on regular TV too. Because I remember back in the day I'd watch, I forget what show it was. It was Yes Dear on CBS. And the sister on that show one time was like, yeah, so-and-so was acting like a bitch. And it wasn't bleeped or nothing. It was just on a regular show on CBS. But they're bleeping shit on TBS, on cable. I always thought a bitch was worse than shit. There was a couple
what do you
times
think is worse? Like,
there was a couple awkward times tonight when they did the censoring. Like when there was one spot with Mercedes when she was like being pulled out of the ring by Camille and she was saying something to Camille and I kept going because she was, I don't know what she was saying though.
Yeah. Like, what do you think is worse? Like the F word or like all those other cuss words with middle fingers?
Well, the F word for sure is the worst of all of them.
Any other cuss words? Like, do you like?
I don't.
Would you be like?
Go for it.
Like, would you be upset if someone said like shit or like any other of that? Like, would you be upset if they bleep that out or like over like not like putting the blur over someone doing the middle finger?
I mean, I get the middle finger blur. I guess I understand why they do that, but it's like, what words are the whole thing is like, what words are okay and what words are not. Like, here, hold on. What words can't say on TV? 68 words you can't say on TV. This comes from BuzzFeed back in 2010. I don't even know if I want to read all these, but let's see.
I would.
Huh?
I wouldn't.
No, YouTube might not like that, but it's just not on the list. Shit is. So here's the weird thing. Because you can say, oh, well, bitch is a female dog, right? But then, like, some of these are like, if you say the word blow in a sexual manner, if you say Christ as an expletive, like, there's words where if you're saying it in a certain way, then it can't be said on TV. Like, if you use the name Dick for Richard, that's fine. But if you say dick meaning penis, that's not fine. So, I don't know. It's just weird when some words that you think are swear words, cuss words get blurred or beeped, and then some words don't. Esports Gaming Rules with a bit donation says, do you see Sari getting along with Stardom stars even when she the first Marigold World Champion? And will Julia confront Roxanne and No Mercy 2024? Well, I have no knowledge of the whole Sari stuff. Is she working Stardom now? I didn't know that. If she is, I don't know. And Julia, today or yesterday was her last Marigold appearance. So I do expect her to appear at No Mercy after Roxanne retains that title against a nobody. Well, not a nobody, but you see the lineup for this number one contenders match in NXT next week to face Roxanne.
Yeah.
It's 6 women. No. Yeah, 6 women. 3 of them, I couldn't tell you their names if it wasn't on the graphic. And then it's like, so Ruka, she just came off of losing to Kalani Jordan for the North America title at the last pay-per-view. You have Ren Sinclair, who was a great on-screen character, but that's what she is, a character that is more comedy relief than anything. Then you have Jada Parker, who has been portrayed pretty well, but hasn't done anything, in my opinion, to the level of deserving a shot at the NXT title. So it's like, we need Delta, we need Stephanie Vicure, and we need Julia to get there quick. Because A, Roxanne needs some challengers, and B, Roxanne needs to go to the main roster.
Yeah, she does. I'd say she'll probably be on the main roster by Royal Rumble.
I can see it. Like, do a Tiffany Stratton thing of, hey, your call-up is the Rumble.
Yeah.
Moving forward, footage of the trio's number one contender match.
When's is Stephanie Vicure debut?
Anytime she's signed, it's all about waiting. I don't know.
Yeah, and who was the other female wrestler that signed with them?
Delta, I don't know much of her. I want to say she's Australian, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard about her once they signed her.
Yeah, she's an Australian professional wrestler. I had never heard of her before, but apparently, like, she's really good. I've seen clips since she's been signed to, like, people making little, like, hey, if you've never seen her before, check this out. Other than that, I have not seen her at all. Last year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated put her at number 219 of the top 250 female wrestlers in the world. So footage of the trio's number one contender match on Collision, where Christian was the number one contender. It was House of Black versus Bang Bang Gang. This was ridiculous. This was stupid as all hell. We knew that this was going to be something like this. We knew there was not going to be a real finish. We knew there was going to be some sort of a crap whatever with Christian as the referee, and this was worse than I even thought. Literally, all the guys were down. Christian's counting, and I think it was Buddy maybe that got up. I could be wrong on that one. Christian gave him an prettier, and then he kept counting, and then he just called it a draw because everyone got counted down. This was so dumb. But Christian was backstage with the Patriarchy being interviewed by Renee. Renee was like, so what's going to happen now? Who's going to defend what are you going to defend the titles at Wembley against? Who? Christian said that he called that match right down the middle. He was the best referee there's ever been, and neither team could get it done. Cage is using the trios titles as a vehicle to get back to the world title, though. He said eventually we will hold all the gold. Cage says that he won't be there for his son Nick Wayne wrestling on Rampage against Kip Sabian, as he hates Norfolk. So basically, they made this seem like they taped this interview Saturday at Collision. Because he's like, I hate Norfolk. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going there. So he wasn't actually backstage. I don't know. I was confused. But Paquette questioned if that's due to not wanting to be around the teams that may want revenge, or him just not really wanting to be there. Cage then told Paquette, get lost and go be a bad mother. Go be a mother. You're probably better than that than an interviewer. So I don't know. I didn't care for this at all. All this Christian stuff. I'm a huge Christian fan. Like I've said before, when Christian was in TNA as TNA champion, he was my favorite wrestler at the time. But like all this patriarchy, I could be a better father than your real father stuff, not working for me. Any thoughts on all this?
It was good at first. It was good at first when he first did it.
Right.
Like your father's dead or that stuff. Like people were like, man, it was too far, but they were like, it's really good because no one else has done it.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like he's kind of overusing it and it's getting old.
100%. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. Before he announces Hook, he's like, I just want to say everybody here in Virginia, we hate Christian Cage. We're happy he's not here. Something like that, he said. I didn't write it all down. But he says, but we're here to talk to, and he points up to the rafters and we get the Hook symbol thing. The Hook comes out with his eye bandaged and I go, you have that last week? And then they tell us he did, but it was black and it blended in with his hair and his beanie. So that's why you may not have saw it. Thank you, Excalibur. I really appreciated that. Because like, I'm sitting here thinking, he's got his eye taped up, but he didn't last week. But he did. It's just, they realized they messed up last week using a black bandage. And no one could tell that it was on. Because I didn't notice. So, kudos to them for course correcting, telling us that he actually had it, and changing the color to a regular bandage. So, cool. Schiavone asked Hook how his eye is doing. And then Hook started rocky, but then the promo was okay by the end. He was like, I can't see out of this eye, but I can see out of this eye just fine, and I can see Chris Jericho, and I want to fight Chris Jericho for the FT title here tonight in Norfolk, Virginia. Jericho, Big Bill, and the Redwood Big Bill and the Bad Apple. My mind just went blank. Brian Keith came out. Also, speaking of the Bad Apple, did you hear McAfee called Carlito a bad apple on Raw?
Yeah, I heard that.
He's like, Carlito's one bad apple. Jericho.
Well, it makes sense for Carlito, though.
Right. So, Jericho was like, hi, guys. Hey, everybody. How's it doing? Hook, you want to fight me tonight? And he starts taking off the jacket, and he's like, well, it ain't going to happen. 'Cause I ain't fighting you here. But I'll fight you at Wembley. So the match did get made. For the FTW title, it will be Chris Jericho defending the title against Hook at Wembley. He says there's a couple caveats, though. First, your last chance. You lose, you don't get another shot at the For the World title. And before that, next week in Cardiff, you're fighting the Big Redwood, Big Bill. Big Bill then takes the mic and says, Hook, next week, I'm going to shove you. And he stops real fast, kind of looks over commentary, up Taz's ass. And then Brian Keith takes the mic and goes, up Taz's ass. So,
Brian Keith is trying way too hard with these, with his on mics.
But that's his gimmick. He just, in a, what's the word, high energy way, repeats the one-liners. But Big Bill said he's also going to tear him limb for limb. Jericho's going to take him out of Wembley. And then after Wembley, Jericho will never, ever be the same again. Hook said he's going to take them all out. So that's a new match. that was officially announced for All In. So we have how many matches now officially for All In? I read it earlier, but I didn't count. All In 2024. It is, not counting the pre-show mixed tag, 7 matches so far announced. Then we had our main event. No, not our main event match. We had the tag title match. My notes got all mixed up. I have these out of order. Hold on. Give me 1 second to Here we go. That's weird. Well, Google Docs moved stuff around on me. There we go. So Caster and Bowens attacked the Young Bucks on the stage during their entrance. They fought on the ramp. The fight did eventually spill to the ring where the match did start. The Bucks gained control early as Nicholas held up the tag titles and the crowd as the bell sounded. Bowens hit a over-the-top bulldog on Matthew for a quick 2. As Daddy Ass walked out, Billy got a huge pop. Like this crowd, when Billy Gunn came out, this crowd went nuts. Double team by the Acclaimed before a blind tag by Nicholas led to a pop-up dropkick on Caster. The Bucks controlled the action during the commercial break. Back from the break, Matthew escaped Scissor Me Timbers, but rolled to the floor and found himself trapped between Caster and Billy Gunn. Nicholas then took out Caster with a kick as Gunn chased him around ringside with a chair, and then the referee Rick Knox ejected Billy Gunn. They said, we didn't see this, but they said Nick threw the chair at Billy and Billy caught it. Yet when we see Billy, he's like this ready to swing, so I don't know. Caster was isolated in the ring, but Nicholas ripped up a Dung Bucks, and Dung as D-U-N-G Bucks sign at ringside, which allowed Caster to battle back, avoiding attacks as the Bucks ran into each for like 15%. Bowens made the tag, but was immediately hit with an assisted sliced bread and a PK for a 2. Bowens was now the one isolated as we go into our second break. Caster finally made the hot tag and ran wild with sling blades as he shouted out to his buddy Hiroshi Tanahashi before pressing Matthew over his head, face first into the corner and wiping out Nicholas with a slingshot dive. The top rope crossbody that attempted to be a pin, but it was cut off. Caster missed a corner splash at one point, allowing Nicholas to try a swanton, but Caster got the knees up. Caster reached for Bowens, and Matthew was there to hit a powerbomb off the apron onto the stage on Bowens. Caster then kept reaching for the tag despite seeing his partner taken out as the Bucks went for the TK driver, but Rick Knox got smashed and bumped long enough for Matthew to hit a low blow. Matthew then threw the tag titles into the ring, but out would come FTR. Dax Harwood then took the belt, and the referee starts stirring and watching this. And he looks like he's going to hit Matt with it, and Matt spat in his face, causing Harwood to shoot the double, and Rick Knox had to call for the disqualification. Billy Gunn then came back out. Security were there. They broke everything up. The Young Bucks ran off, and it's the Acclaimed and the FTR in the ring, and they're like holding them apart. We go backstage, and Renee's like, Christopher Daniels, I was going to ask you another question, which we don't know what it was, but after what we just saw in the ring, what's going to happen with the tag title situation? He's like, this is unfortunate. If the Young Bucks would have just straight up won, FTR would be the next number 1 contenders. But because the Young Bucks didn't actually technically win, we're going to do a number 1 contenders match. The Acclaimed are going to get a chance to get another shot. On Collision, it will be the Acclaimed versus FTR. Winners go to All In to challenge for the tag titles. So my question to you, do we get an actual winner here? Or could it end up being a triple threat at All In? If not, is it Acclaimed or FTR?
I think it's triple threat.
How do we get to that, though? Because we know the Young Bucks don't work Collision. They ain't going to Dallas, Texas on Saturday night.
They'll probably just announce it.
Well, they already said it's number 1 contender match, the Acclaimed versus FTR. So they got to do something in that match, whether it's a winner or a non-finish. I don't know.
Well, what if they have Jack Perry screw them over? Then Christopher Daniels is like, you know what? You're going to fight all of them.
Maybe. I mean, the triple threat is what makes the most sense with the way everything's been going. And we did already get FTR versus the Young Bucks last year in Wembley. So it's like, why give us the exact same match? So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not into it. Like, none of the tag title stuff is interesting to me at all right now in AEW. So then we got a phenomenal, amazing Bryan Danielson career retrospective look back video, which played Green Day's Good Riddance Time of Your Life. There was footage of him in AEW, of course, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and even a short little clip of him from Colt Cabana's Wrestling Road Diaries. Have you ever seen Colt Cabana's Wrestling Road Diaries?
I did not, no.
These are awesome. I want to say there's 3 or 4 of them. Basically what it is, it's Colt Cabana and like 3 other wrestlers in a car on the road doing an indie loop. And there's one that is, and I want to get this right because the Danielson one is the best one. Wrestling Road Diaries. This was like not before YouTube. Well, actually a little bit before YouTube, maybe. But basically Colt Cabana had a camera guy come with them and just film a bunch of stuff of them going to indie shows. And like the Danielson one, it's them working indie shows where there's one indie show where there's like not even 20 people there. And then they go to an ROH taping and it's a whole bunch of things. I think, no, that's not the full, because it's 2 hours long, but you watch the first hour on YouTube. I'm trying to find, you used to have an actual like website for it to show all of them. Oh, here, this might be it. This might be it. So it is Colt Cabana, Bryan Danielson, and Sal Renaro. I can't remember who he is, an indie wrestler, but it's like just these 3 guys in a car for a weekend doing an indie loop. And it's awesome. There was also, I want to say there's 3. What are the other ones? I know Luke Gallows is in one of them. Which one's this one? This one is Colt Cabana, Luke Gallows, and Cliff Compton. And then the last one is, I want to say here's the third one. It's Colt Cabana, Kikataro, and Grado. So,
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Right? The Danielson one, well worth the watch. It's 2 hours long, and it's so funny, so great. You see Danielson's real personality of just being a goof at times, and yeah, no, really worth it. Like there's a spot where they're like, yeah, we just went to a thrift store and we like bought all these vintage shirts and this and that. It's cool. I would say go out of your way to try to find it and watch it. It's called the Wrestling Road Diaries. It was a Colt Cabana project from 2009, maybe. And the cool thing about the Danielson one is, if I'm thinking correctly, this was his last weekend on the Indies, leading to his last Ring of Honor show before he left for WWE. So that's the really cool one that they got to document all of that on this.
Didn't he get fired at first because of the Justin Roberts incident?
Yeah, buddy. Apparently
I know you worked some Dragon Gate for a little bit.
Yeah, people complained that it was too violent. But then like 3-4 months later, he was back.
Was he working some Ring of Honor again or just Dragon Gate?
I can tell you right now. Hold on. It was, because I know literally WWE fired him and he's just like, I'm not going to stop wrestling. And like, you would have thought he was still an indie guy because he never even, here it goes. Chikara. He worked some Chikara. IWA Puerto Rico. Worked a match against QT Marshall. Evolve, Dragon Gate, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, where he competed in a match against Roderick Strong. I don't know where this match took place, but he challenged Adam Pearce for the NWA World Championship. This is all 2010. And yeah, Dragon Gate was the last one he worked before finishing it all up. Well, Dragon Gate and then NWE, Northeast Wrestling. NEW. So yeah, WWE fired him and he immediately just went right back on the road. Because everyone wanted to use him. Literally 2 weeks after he was fired by WWE, he had a match against Eddie Kingston and Shakara. So, after we get this great video package, they show us that Danielson is sitting front row to watch Swerve versus Wheeler Yuta. And I'm going to say, it sucked for Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta looked like a goob. Wheeler Yuta looked like a jobber. Wheeler Yuta looked like an extra enhancement talent. Swerve just beat his ass and destroyed him. And I'm like, oh, I wish they wouldn't have gone that hard on Yuta. So Strickland wasted no time sending Yuta to the outside right next to Danielson. He slammed Yuta into the steel steps and the barricade, trash talking Bryan, saying, "This is just an appetizer and I'm going to retire you." Back in the ring, Yuta tried fighting back, but Strickland hit the uppercut out of the corner and again mocked Danielson, who cheered on Yuta. Strickland applied almost an inverted stretch muffler before Yuta wrenched at his hands and stomped down on Strickland, who countered it into some kicks of his own. Yuta countered a buckle bomb into a Hurricane Rana to the floor, where he connected with the elbow suicida. Back inside the ring, Yuta went up for a dive, but Strickland sidestepped, and Yuta crashed and burned. Strickland applied a label lock, staring straight at Danielson, and Yuta rolled out into an ankle lock. Strickland then did a British escape, and Yuta tried a Nigel Lariat. He's tried a Nigel Lariat. Oh, where was I? My notes just froze. Give me 1 second. Tried a Nigel Lariat. Here we go. And instead, some anvil elbows and a seat belt for a close two. Strickland then tried a rolling flatliner. Yuta sidestepped, hit a German snap suplex, cattle mutilation, and Strickland escaped, and both slapped the hell out of each other. Strickland absorbed the blows with a smile on his face and an uppercut headbutt to Yuta. There were 3 house call kicks that connected flush between Strickland, and he stomped down repeatedly on him with punches and bunches that led to Bryce Remsburg eventually just calling the match. Just saying he's out, he can't continue. Strickland wouldn't stop though, so Danielson jumped the barricade and hit the ring. Strickland bailed. Strickland then took the mic and said, "I got a message for you." He said, "This is just an example of what he's going to do to you, or do to him in 2 weeks," asking if Bryan will bring his family. He said, "Where you sat tonight, the same place where your daughter's going to sit and watch you have your last match. And I'm not just going to retire you. I'm going to force you to retire and leave you crippled." Strickland then left as Danielson was tending to Yuta, but then Swerve ran back down and gave Danielson a house call before the show went off the air. So they're really building this matchup big. They're really doing some great things with the Swerve and Danielson storyline, but like, I like it, but I'm still confused as to just a few weeks ago, Swerve was babyface, hurrah, we got to save AEW from the elite. And now he's the most hated, most dastardly, I want to kill Bryan Danielson heel in the company. Regardless, what did you think of the match and the promo afterwards?
I mean, the promo was good. The match kind of made Yuta look very weak, but the promo afterwards was pretty effective.
Yeah. Now it's like, are they really going to have Bryan's daughter sit in front row? And maybe even son? Both kids? Bree? I don't know.
Maybe.
You think if Bree's there, Nikki will be there too?
No, probably just Bree.
It'd be a cool little shot of like Bree and both kids. But at the same time, Bryan gonna have to smarten them kids up, because we know Bryan likes to take a lot of punishment in his matches.
Oh yeah.
So
I have to have pep talk with his kids, like, hey, like, just so you know, like this is This isn't real.
Right. But with all of that, I'm getting the poll ready right here on Twitch really fast. I liked it. It was right. I didn't like it. And the poll is live if you're watching on Twitch. As far as things announced for the next week, we do know that on Rampage, Nick Wayne will take on Kip Sabian, which we'll get into the spoilers of that here in a moment. On Collision, MXM Collection. I still like, what the fuck are we doing with this? Everybody hated it in WWE, and all of a sudden we love it in AEW. Like, I don't, but people do for some reason. They're taking on Top Flight. And then in a number one contenders match, FTR will take on the Acclaimed. And then next week on Dynamite, we do know that MJF and Will Osprey will go face to face. And Okada will defend the Continental Championship. I wrote that wrong. Against Claudio Castagnoli. As far as the polls do go, refreshing those right here. Boom. 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 As far as the threads poll does go, 75% liked the show, 25% thought it was just all right. Looking at the Twitter poll, 38% liked the show, 38% didn't like the show, and 23% thought it was just all right. Looking at the YouTube community poll, 54% liked the show, 54% liked the show, 24% didn't, and 23% thought it was just all right. Here we go. This person, first comment. I fell asleep halfway through. What did I say? If I wasn't taking notes, I probably would have fell asleep during that first hour. Another
I wanted to fall asleep.
Says, I fell asleep myself halfway through. Jeez. Person says AEW rules, and this person gives it a 6. Looking at the YouTube live poll, 62% liked the show, 23% thought it was just all right, and 15% didn't like it. And then as far as Twitch, 67% didn't like it, 33% thought it was just all right. Let's see if we have any Rampage spoilers really fast. We do. So let's put up spoiler alert. As far as this week's AEW Rampage does go, filmed tonight in Norfolk, Virginia. We do know that Top Flight defeated MXM Collection, which is Mason Mansour. Nick Wayne defeated Kip Sabian. Nyla Rose defeated Erica Lee. The Conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Tomohiro Ishii defeated the team of the Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd, and The Butcher. And then finally, the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher and Roosh, defeated the team of Rhett Titus and KM. Those are your spoilers for this week's AEW Rampage. And then, of course, Collision will be live. It is the final Collision from the Arlington Esports Arena in Arlington, Texas. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. But Luke, tell them they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter X at Petke_21. And you can also find me over at Twitch at Young Grasshopper Luke.
Good with that, guys. Have a great rest of your day, or night, I mean. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you back here on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. Have a good one, guys.